Hi, I'm Lauren Filoni, a team coordinator with the LOSS team in Plymouth County. LOSS stands for Local Outreach to Suicide Survivors. A suicide survivor is anyone who has lost someone in their life to suicide. We offer peer support from one survivor to another. We do not offer therapy or clinical services. The LOSS team program is a national evidence-based model. Our objective is to offer immediate support to survivors after a death by suicide. Together, we can decrease the stigma around suicide and ensure that no one feels alone after losing someone they love to suicide. To accomplish this, our team has signed a memorandum of understanding with your chief of police, allowing our team to be called to the crime scene to meet with the survivors on scene. We call this an immediate activation. We can also offer a scheduled activation if responding to the scene is not an option. Our LOSS team services will benefit not only the survivors, but also you, the responding officers on the scene. So we'll explain that for you quickly. Here's how we benefit the survivors. First, suicide grief is complex, and in fact, we are more likely to experience suicidal thoughts and behaviors after losing someone we love to suicide. It's critical that survivors receive support as early as possible. Also, we know that this model is effective. When there is no LOSS team available, the average survivor seeks help 4.5 years after their loss. With a LOSS team response, however, that drops down to just 45 days. The loss of someone to a death by suicide is tragic and stigmatized, and the LOSS team seeks to offer comfort and support, as well as guide loved ones to seek services as soon as possible after a loss. We will also follow up with the survivors in the days following our initial meeting to ensure that their needs are met and they know where to go with questions. Our support will also benefit you, the officers on scene. LOSS teams do not impact crime scenes. They impact people. We will meet with the family as a compassionate resource without interfering with your work. We understand that suicide investigations are some of the most complex cases you encounter. They are also some of the most difficult situations for the survivors to endure. So the LOSS team will support the survivors while you focus on your important work. Also, you should know that the LOSS team is highly trained. All volunteers undergo extensive training to prepare to support the survivors and to never interfere with law enforcement's work. Trainings completed by LOSS team members include crime scene etiquette and psychological first aid. We will also be easily identifiable both to you and to the survivors while on the scene. We wear LOSS team branded shirts and lanyards. Last, we acknowledge that in your profession you are likely a survivor yourself, having repeated exposure to trauma scenes, including deaths by suicide. The LOSS team is here to help you as well. We want to help you process your work and prioritize your well-being if you need us. When you are called to the scene of a suicide death, here are the procedures we ask you to follow. Please be sure to also follow any department-specific protocols that your department may have in place when activating our LOSS team. The first step is to ensure the cause of death has been ruled as suicide and the loved ones are notified. After the survivors have been informed that their loved one's cause of death is suicide, the officer in charge would inform them of the LOSS team's availability to respond immediately and offer support. You should let them know that the LOSS team is trained individuals who will come in pairs. At least one of the responding members will have lived experience, meaning we have also lost someone to suicide and can offer that unique understanding to the survivors on scene. A LOSS team response is voluntary, and they can agree to immediate activation or request a referral to the LOSS team for a scheduled activation within 2 weeks if they prefer. When survivors have agreed to an immediate activation, the officer in charge will call the LOSS team at 339-244-0709. The volunteer who answers your call will ask several questions about the deceased and the scene, so we are prepared before arriving. We will then confirm 2 volunteers who will arrive on scene within 2 hours of your call. We will arrive together, and assuming law enforcement is still on scene, we will approach the officer in charge. We will never approach the family and friends without speaking to law enforcement first. The officer would then introduce us to the family, and we will take it from there. We will stay for approximately 1 hour, but not more than 90 minutes. We'll sit with the survivors and offer peer support, not therapy, to help with initial feelings and reactions to this sudden and tragic loss. We will offer necessities such as water and tissues, and we will leave behind a folder of resources, linking survivors to local support that they can contact when they're ready. In the days following an activation, we will call survivors to check in on them and remind them that they're not alone. In the event that the survivors decline an immediate loss team response, you can call or email us with a referral. We will then reach out to the survivors to schedule a meeting within 2 weeks and/or deliver a folder of resources to them. Please note that this phone number is for your police use only and should not be shared with anyone outside of your police department. That way we can ensure your critical call always gets answered. Again, that phone number is 339-244-0709, and our email address is plymouthcountylossteam@gmail.com. To summarize, your department will activate our loss team when responding to a suicide death. At least 2 loss team volunteers will respond to meet with the survivors. Our visit will be brief, lasting up to 90 minutes. We will offer comfort and support to the bereaved and leave them with a folder of helpful resources. We will also follow up with them later on. By collaborating, we can expect to decrease your own stress levels on a suicide scene, as well as the isolation often felt by the newly bereaved. This will lead to faster access to support for the survivors and a decrease in the stigma that sadly still exists when it comes to talking about and responding to suicide. On your screen here, you're seeing our website, www.lossteamplymouthcounty.org, where you can go to learn more about us and the Loss Team National Model. We hope you will also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Last, we want to thank you for your partnership. We look forward to working with you to support our community members who need us.